Hello YouTube and welcome to another moto vlog coming at you from Sterling. This is going to be a pretty boring one, so I'm going to warn you now. If you're not into boring moto vlogs, you might as well change this video. I'm going to be giving you some tips for cold weather riding. And we're also going to be evaluating my terrible parking lot skills. So stay tuned and see that. So tip 1, trail braking. Watch my right hand. On the brakes, on the brakes, on the brakes, on the brakes. There! I got almost halfway through the corner before I lifted my hand off the brakes. That's your first tip. Load your front up with those brakes. Get your bike trail braking. Practice. Second tip, gear up. It's cold out there. I suggest a warm wool base layer, something like you'd wear for skiing. Then I would wear, honestly, I'd wear like a tracksuit over that. Then over my tracksuit, I would wear rain gear. That'll give you a nice warm cushion. Now if you have heated gloves and heated gear, that's even better. You know what you're doing better than me, so don't listen to me if you've got heated gear. This is for people like me who have to make do with what we got. So now you can see me entering a parking lot here. I'm going to take a little bit of a rip around. There's another tip. When you see really crappy pavement like that, try not to lean over it. So I'm going to try to do some emergency stops. But the thing is, there's like water everywhere, and I'm really not trying to practice emergency stopping over water. The big problem I'm having, and the reason I'm being a little timid, is because this bike has some problems with the battery, and I'm worried that if I drop the bike and have to turn it off, that I won't be able to turn it back on again. Now we're doing some parking lot drills. So you can see I can make it not too hard. Thinking that was actually pretty tough. It's actually pretty tough on the R6, but you can see all this water. So now we're going to get up to about 25 and stop. Still stop pretty quick. Nice even squeeze on the brakes. But I'm not liking this. I'm kind of thinking to myself, maybe I'll try practicing another day when there's a little less water on the ground. You know what I mean? So I do a couple more here, a couple more U-turns. Yeah. Now I'm going up a hill here. So that makes it a little more tough when you're going up a hill. You got to give it some throttle and slip the clutch. So going downhill is pretty easy. But going uphill can be a problem. You see there, the bike starts to get away from me and I have to put my foot down to save it. At that point I'm like, you know what, I've gone far enough. This really isn't the time or the place to be practicing. It's freezing outside. It's, really cold. I'm worried about dropping the bike more than I am about practicing and doing the drills correctly. Just not a good time. Look at this guy making that U-turn there in the middle of the street. Didn't notice that when it was happening. Back out here. But as you can see, grip isn't too bad when it's cold. You just have to be careful. You got to do things in a progressive manner. So that's my second tip, or third tip, I should say. So tip number 1, trail braking. Tip number 2, wear your gear. Tip number 3, do things in a progressive manner. Now, tip number 4. These tips are kind of in any order you want, but this is tip number 4. Have your tire pressure set correctly. I set my tire pressures 34, 38 before I set off. That's a little low. That's lower than the manufacturer recommends, but I just like the way the bike feels with slightly lower pressures. So that's the way I set them, and that's just the way it is. It gives me a little less life out of the rear tire, but it gives the bike a lot better feel, and that's just what I like. makes the bike feel better. I don't think it gives you any actual better grip or anything like that, especially at street speeds. But it feels better, so what can you do? So we're just cruising along some of these boulevards here in Sterling. Nothing too fancy, nothing too crazy. We're gonna skip ahead here at this traffic light once I come to a complete stop. Here's another tip, and this is something I need to work on. It's something my friend tells me. Don't stop so close to cars that you don't have an escape route for if you need to pull ahead. And that's something I really need to work on after watching this video. I'm pulling up way too close to cars. Now that's not really a cold weather riding tip, that's just a general riding tip. You know, give yourself a good escape route when you're stopped. And I'm not really doing that, so I need to worry about that a little bit as I continue to ride. Yeah. See, I'm pulling, like, I should stop back here, like there. But instead I pull all the way up here. Yeah, it's just not good. So I wait for the car to move ahead a bit, start accelerating. This is going to be the last clip, nothing too fancy. So do I have any other tips? Yeah, my tip number 5, and I said this before in the last video, watch the center of the road. I don't know if you saw it there, but there's that huge patch of like frozen salt. Or just like, I don't even know what the right word is, congealed, just like correlated, congregated, I don't know. There was a big patch of salt in the middle of the road, and you don't really want to run over that, especially if you're leaned over. So let's see if I trail brake correctly going into this turn. Speed up. Do I? Not really. I start braking. I don't even brake. Oh, wait. Start trail braking there, and I only brake a little bit. Now, that's where trail braking can get tough. When you have cars ahead of you and you have to match their speed and you're going the speed of cars, trail braking doesn't make a whole lot of sense because you don't need to slow down. So if you don't need to slow down, then why are you using your brakes? So that's something I still have to deal with personally, and I don't really fully understand it. You know, braking when you don't need to slow down. You can totally use the brakes and the throttle at the same time, and some people recommend that. And that's a technique I really am not familiar with, and one that I do need to work on. So now we're heading down a little highway here, just for one exit. It'll be a quick little jaunt. You can see me speeding up a little bit. Get to have a little bit of higher speed fun for a second. But, you know, nothing too crazy, nothing too crazy. And here we go, twist the throttle. Just for what was that, a second and a half, 2 seconds. Get up to about 90 miles an hour. Then slow back down, take it nice and easy. No need to go crazy, no need to be a hero. That's actually going to be my tip number 5. In the cold weather, in the rain, in this type of conditions here where the level of grip is just unknown and probably very low, don't be a hero. You got nothing to prove to anybody. The only thing you really need to do is make it home safe. Make it home safe to your warm house or to your warm destination. So let's check out my trail braking here. On the brakes, turn it in, on the brakes, on the brakes, on the brakes, and then I release. So see, I'm on the brakes well after my turn in, and I stay on the brakes until I'm basically established my steering angle. So until I've reached my maximum steering angle for the corner, I'm on the brakes. That's really how you want to trail brake. And then at that point, if you need to hold your steering angle, you can get onto some maintenance throttle. Or if you're going to reduce your steering angle, you can start picking up the throttle and accelerating. Either way, you want to be on the brakes until you've increased your steering angle all the way. So guys, thanks for staying here, and think about your riding.